I am the most unlikely looking rapper you may have ever seen. There probably aren't that many nerdy white kids from Hickory, North Carolina who did a Ph.D. on hip-hop or deliver hip-hop motivational assemblies to students. As you might expect, over the years, I've heard a pretty common chorus of, wait, you rap? Nevertheless, I believed in the power of hip-hop to connect people across cultures and transform lives. The story I chose to tell myself about who I was, combined with my persistent reframing of obstacles, helped me stay focused, persevere, and create a sense of purpose that drives me. I'm also a millennial, and given the negative public discourse around millennials as lazy and entitled and overprotected, you might call me an uncommon millennial. I realize that's a very millennial thing to say. But I'm here to tell you that uncommon millennials are more common than you might think, and our future depends on making more of them. A couple of years ago, my business partner Ivy and I were talking about this negative perception of millennials, and we said, that description doesn't fit most millennials we know. The millennials we know are passionate, courageous, and driven by purpose. So we set off to determine what differentiated these seemingly uncommon millennials. After comparing responses from interview after interview with millennial entrepreneurs, creatives, and leaders in various fields, we came to a striking conclusion. These inspiring millennials had different backgrounds and life experiences, but they all shared two beliefs in common. The first belief that uncommon millennials hold is that we can control the story we tell ourselves about who we are and what we're capable of. The story we tell ourselves about who we are is typically informed by feedback we receive from people in our lives, media images, and culture, all of which consciously or unconsciously create expectations and judgments about our identities and capabilities. We then take actions and see results that often reinforce the story we have about who we are. So that's what's so powerful about knowing that, first, we are telling ourselves a story about who we are, and secondly, that we can control that story. If we think certain options aren't open to us, we won't pursue them. But if we choose a story that empowers us, then we'll take actions that open doors and create new possibilities. I learned this lesson pretty early on in my journey. One day, I was in the cafeteria at my high school, Hickory High, just down the road, and I saw a commotion by the lunch tables. It turns out a group of guys had formed a cipher, which is basically a rap circle. One person's usually beatboxing, and if you're not familiar with beatboxing, it sounds a little something like a little something like that. Thank you. Thank you. So in the cipher, one person's usually beatboxing, and the rest of the people in the circle take turns rapping. I saw this and thought, I immediately want to be part of this experience. So I went home and started practicing beatboxing. I listened to amazing beatboxers like Dougie Fresh and Rozelle, and I'd practice all the time. I'd even be in the shower like, and my mom would be like, Blake, is everything all right in there? I'm like, don't worry, Mom, this fire is under control. So finally, I built up the courage to start beatboxing in the ciphers. And I noticed that the rappers were rapping about themselves, things they cared about, and stories from their lives. And I thought, I want to do that too. So even though I was nervous, the next time I decided to jump in the cipher. The guy rapping before me was this really big dude who was rapping really aggressively. He finished his rap with something like, yo, you better watch it when I bust a rap, because if you're not careful, I'ma bust a cap. And then I jumped in. Yo, man, that's right, I really feel you. I always do my homework. Yo, I'm really real, too. Thankfully, he didn't immediately throw me out of the cipher, but instead came up to me afterwards and said, you are the most unusual rapper I have ever seen in my life, but you're true to yourself, and I respect that. Keep doing your thing, man. In that moment, I realized the power of the story I'd been telling myself, that even though I was an awkward rapper, I didn't have to stand on the sidelines. I could be a participant and a practitioner of hip-hop as well as an appreciator. So that story was what helped me jump in the cipher in the first place and led to the encouragement from my fellow rapper, unlikely as it may be, that reinforced the story I was starting to tell myself, that I could contribute something to the world through hip-hop. That story continued to fuel my passion and led me to study English and post-colonial hip-hop in undergrad, obtain a Ph.D. in hip-hop and global youth cultures, and become a professional hip-hop motivational speaker. But there were definitely challenges that I would need to reframe in order to persevere along the way. Which leads me to the second key belief that uncommon millennials hold, which is that challenges are opportunities to help us learn and grow. While none of the millennials we interviewed liked failure, they were willing to take risks that might help them achieve their goals because they realized that failure is a normal part of the path to success. While there are many of my own failures I could share to exemplify this belief, perhaps my most public one was when I was invited to audition for the celebrity judges on the TV show America's Got Talent. I made it through the first few rounds and ended up on stage at Madison Square Garden in front of 3,000 people. And I was very nervous. I'd done a lot of freestyle rapping and various performances over the years, but never anything this massive. And making me even more nervous, sitting in front of me were the 4 celebrity judges: Howard Stern, the radio host; Heidi Klum, the supermodel; Howie Mandel, the TV game show host; and Mel B, the former Spice Girl. So Howie asked me, "What's your name and what's your talent?" I said, "My name is Blake Brandis, and I rap." And he goes, "You rap?" I said, "I do. And actually, I freestyle rap, so if you bring up a random audience member on stage, I'll make up a rap about them on the spot." So Howie goes into the audience, brings up this guy. I ask the guy a few questions about himself, and then the beat drops. And then I start rapping. And it actually starts going pretty well. The crowd's laughing at the jokes, they're cheering at the punchlines. This guy's having a great time because I'm making up a rap about him, and I think, man, this is working. I could really have a chance at the $1 million prize. And then I heard a sound I've been dreading the entire time. I saw a big red X light up on the front of Howard Stern's desk. And in that moment, I thought, okay, I have a choice. I can either just keep rapping, pretend like it didn't happen, hope everything goes okay, or maybe I should just quit rapping right now. I mean, if Howard didn't like it, maybe the other judges don't like it either. And I thought, well, maybe there's a third choice here. What if I turn this problem into an opportunity and flip it? So with seconds left, I said, "Time is running out, but you know I'm not stressing. I came to reach the people and to teach a lesson. And yo, it doesn't matter if Howard gets to Xing, I'm still gonna keep rapping, no question." And the crowd went wild. Thank you. So now we go to the judges. Howard is angry. He yells, "Freestyle rap's not a talent. You can't get paid to do that. I vote no. You do not go through." Then we go to Heidi Klum, who says, "I liked it. I thought it was a talent. I vote yes, you do go through." Then Howie Mandel says, "I liked it too. I thought it was more than just rap. It was comedy. It was theatrical. I vote yes, you do go through." So now it all comes down to Mel B. Imagine having your future in the hands of a former Spice Girl, and that's exactly what this felt like. So Mel B says, "I liked it, but I've seen better. I vote no, you don't go through." And I'm like, that's it, 2 yes, 2 no, I don't go through. But then the producers came out and they said, "This season on America's Got Talent, we have a special feature. There's a golden button that each judge can only use 1 time during the entire season, but if they use it, it saves the act on stage and they go through to the next round." So now the crowd is going wild. They're chanting, "Send him through, send him through." Howard Stern is on his feet yelling at Howie Mandel saying, "Howie, if you like Blake so much, why don't you use the golden button and send him through?" And the crowd's chanting, "Send him through, send him through." So Howie stands up and the crowd goes nuts. They're chanting, "Send him through, send him through." And Howie goes, I just can't do it. I'm sorry. And I didn't make it through. Objectively speaking, this was a failure. I didn't succeed at winning America's Got Talent and could have taken that to mean that I should just quit rapping and go hide under a rock somewhere. But because I chose to view challenges as opportunities, I didn't get hung up on not winning the $1 million or getting a record contract. Instead, I chose to focus on the unexpected gift that such a challenging and occasionally scary experience gave me. It takes courage to stand up in front of thousands of people and 4 celebrity judges, but I did it. And it gave me the confidence to take the next big step in my journey and pursue what I loved full time. So now you've seen the 2 key beliefs of uncommon millennials in action, and the next question presents itself. How do we help more millennials adopt these beliefs so that they too can live lives they love, driven by passion and purpose? In other words, how can we make these uncommon millennials more common? Let's look at a couple ways to develop these key beliefs. One way to help more millennials adopt the first key belief, that we can control the story we tell ourselves about who we are and what we're capable of, is by providing what developmental psychologist Bill Damon calls purposeful role models. According to Damon, purposeful role models demonstrate how gratifying living life with a sense of purpose can be. And they also share the struggles and frustrations that inevitably come with living such a life. Sharing stories of purposeful role models in the millennial generation was our goal in starting the Motivational Millennial Podcast. Not all of our interviewees are millionaires, but they are living lives filled with passion and perseverance. For example, we met this amazing millennial journalist named Sarah Stillman, who told herself that she didn't need to wait for permission to write a story that she knew needed to be told. Sarah was passionate about investigating human rights abuses in Iraq, but couldn't get funding from any newspapers or magazines. Rather than giving up, Sarah went online, bought body armor, and paid to fly herself into a war zone. Now, thankfully, she made it back alive, but when she came back, she faced rejection after rejection from editors, until finally, her story was accepted by The New Yorker, and she went on to win the National Magazine Award for Public Interest. We speak with amazing and extraordinary millennials like Sarah every week on the podcast. We want to share their stories of struggle as well as their stories of triumph, because it's important to hear those stories of vulnerability as well as confidence. Our hope is that listeners will see their own journey mirrored and reflected by our interviewees, and then tell themselves, how can I create an empowering story for myself like this person did? We can all be purposeful role models for the millennials in our lives. You may have discovered a sense of purpose that's helped you live a fulfilling life. Alternatively, you may worry that you're not perfect or that you've made a lot of mistakes. Good. Either way, that's what millennials need to hear. We need to hear about those times when you kept going even when you were uncertain or afraid. The stories you tell yourself matter to the millennials in your life, because when we hear your story, we say, if he did that, I can do this. If she overcame that, I can overcome this. Now, if we look at how to help more millennials develop the second key belief, that challenges are opportunities, we really need to provide them with spaces where they can reframe failure in order to persevere. Psychologist Angela Duckworth calls the ability to keep going in the face of challenges grit. Training ourselves to view challenges as opportunities helps to develop grit. And it turns out that grit is the strongest determinant for success in fields as wide-ranging as education and the military to sports and music. We can help millennials reframe failure and develop grit by encouraging them to take risks and fail in a supportive environment. For example, my business partner Ivy and I decided to create a hip-hop motivational video series called The Upbeat. For 52 weeks in a row, I wrote a blog post and a rap to help people overcome some challenge in their life. Then Ivy and I would film a rap video and post it online. The only problem was I would often write the rap the night before we had to film, so it wasn't always totally memorized. One particular day, we stood in a park in Oakland, California, for hours while we filmed 97 takes in a row. During this process, Ivy modeled creating a supportive environment to fail. Every time I'd mess up, she said, "No worries, just do one more take." Now, she could have yelled at me for not having memorized the rap better before we started, or she could have told me to just stop and quit somewhere around the 90th bad take in a row. But she stayed focused on the outcome we were trying to achieve and provided non-judgmental feedback to help us finally get the take that we needed. When I asked Ivy later, "How were you able to stay so patient?" she just replied, "I was just grateful to be filming in such a beautiful location and to be working on a project we really cared about." Talk about reframing a challenge as an opportunity, right? Can you think of a millennial in your life who needs to hear, "No worries, just do one more take"? In other words, just try one more time as many times as it takes. In order to view challenges as opportunities, we need the space to fail and grow from the experience. What's amazing here is that these two key beliefs that uncommon millennials hold are actually intertwined. We all have challenges that we've overcome that we can look to as examples of times we were strong. Then we can use those challenges to create a story of resilience that helps drive us forward. Stories of strength and bravery become a part of our identity and create a continuous positive feedback loop. I encourage you to take some time to talk with the millennials in your life. Listen first to understand their challenges and the story they're telling themselves about who they are and what they're capable of. Then respond. Your stories matter to them. So does your feedback. And you can help them develop powerful stories of their own by sharing yours. So why should we care about creating more uncommon millennials who are driven by passion and purpose? Millennials are a massively undertapped social, economic, and leadership resource. As the largest living generation in the United States, we are or will be your employees, bosses, coworkers, doctors, lawyers, and politicians. We can enhance your life, your company, and your community. We just need your help to make uncommon millennials a little more common. Thank you.
We're going to hold the applause for 1 second here because Dr. Brandis comes all the way from the West Coast, flies all the way over here, talks about hip-hop, talks about freestyle, but this is the big leagues, right? This is TEDxHickory. You can't come here and not freestyle something for us, right? Is that okay? Is that something?
I mean, y'all want to hear a freestyle? Is that, all right. All right, we can do a freestyle rap. So to prove this is really improvised, made up on the spot, let's get some topics from the audience to keep it relevant here. I just need a couple people to shout out something that you're passionate about that is appropriate for a TEDx. So something that you're passionate about that's appropriate to share on TEDx. Painting. Fantastic. All right, yes. Motorcycling. Painting and motorcycling. One more, yes. Photography. Oh, look at you, cultured people. All right, so we have painting, motorcycles, and photography. All right, perfect. Ralph, do you have a beat or something? I mean, you got, because, okay. All right. I like what you're doing there. Can we turn it up a little? Is that okay? Yeah. All right. Y'all hear me all right? Okay. So, a little freestyle rap today about painting, motorcycles, and photography. Yo, the room is rocking, you can really feel the energy, like it was meant to be with the synchronicity. I got magic, but yo, it's not wizardry. I came to freestyle at TEDxHickory. Oh, you see how I do it? Watch this man flow. You know I'm losing an ear like Van Gogh. You know I'm painting that. Yo, I'm so deaf with this rhyme, I could put it on a canvas like impressionists. Oh, not only that, I keep moving on my Harley, baby. Yo, you know that I'm grooving. Keep it riding all through the night. I got my Hell's Angels up in front in my sight. Not only that, you know I stay rapping. In fact, when I'm spitting it, you know they stay snapping. Action, camera, yo, we got photography. Yo, you know I kick it out here for the democracy. Oh, you know what is coming next. We got elections, yo, but I won't front or flex because I have to spit this off the dome. And it's so great to be in Hickory, back in my home, the place where I grew up. I hope you understand this. The name is Dr. A.K.A. Blake Brandis. So you can rise to the top when you hit the bottom. And thanks for helping make great millennials more common.